Alright, so if you clicked on this video, I think it'd be pretty safe to assume that you're trying to get sub 20 with Roux. What I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be giving 5 things and discussing them on what I think you should work on and what you should do to be sub 20. And then I'll be doing 3 example solves at the end of the video. So without further ado, let's get into the first thing. So the first thing that I want to discuss is I want to discuss that full CMLL is not required. That's right, not required. How do I know this? That's because I'm currently sub 20 and I don't know full CMLL. I only know about half. Now, if you are working towards sub 20, I highly recommend that you start learning it now because it'll make it easier and you'll just have to learn them and you won't have to learn them later. But what you do want to make sure is you want to make sure that you're using the most efficient algs, and you're not using like CFOP algs to solve for CMLL. I do have a 2-look CMLL tutorial on my channel that I will link in the description if you want to watch that for the most efficient algs. But just make sure that the algorithms that you are doing are the fastest possible because 1-look CMLL is definitely a lot faster than 2-look, but it is not required, so you don't have to do it. But again, I would highly recommend that you do, although you do not need to if you don't want to. Okay, so the second thing that I want to discuss is efficiency. Especially if you're not going to learn full CMLL, efficiency is just the solid thing that you need in a good Roux solve. You can achieve this by doing slow solves, by watching example solves, and just by experimenting with different things in the cube. Also, one thing I highly recommend is being opposite color neutral. What opposite color neutral means is it means that I can build my first and second blocks on the yellow side and not the white side. So right now my CMLL is, well, I haven't finished second block, but I can build the second block pair with yellow and not white, and then my CMLL will be on the right side, or be on the white side. This really helps because whenever you first scramble your cube, there may be certain scenarios, like right now I see yellow has a pair here and a pair here, which I'm not seeing pairs like that on white block. So if you're able to switch to opposite color neutrality where you can solve on yellow or white, this opens up a lot more opportunities for a more efficient first and second block, and it's really not that hard. It's a lot harder to switch to full color neutral. Opposite color neutral is very easy, especially because during LSC, you're only looking for like good and bad edges if they're white or yellow, so there should be no recognition problem there. So I already mentioned slow solves. This is very important, and I think this is actually really fundamental to getting your times faster, period. Whenever you're solving, you do not want to be like trying to spam TPS and go as fast as you can. You don't have to go insanely slow, but just make sure you're at a nice, comfortable pace that will get you decent times. So, I don't know, you could probably solve at a pace of something like so you can probably solve at a pace of about that and get sub 20. And really the thing is, when you're working on look ahead, since Roux users have a lower move count, we can turn slower and be more efficient, and this is actually really helpful. I have noticed that sometimes slower solves help me get faster times because I notice things more than I do if I was turning fast that I may not have noticed during the faster solve, and doing slow solves usually won't hurt you, it'll help you because you can be a lot more efficient. So this is a kind of minor thing, but I think this actually really helps. One thing that you want to work on is you want to work on two-hand, or I don't really know what to call it, but like separate hand LSC. So what I used to do is I used to do single M slices with my left hand, and then M2 flicks with my right hand. Now this is very bad because anytime I had to do a M2, I have to like switch the position of my right hand to do the M2, and that's just not efficient. Instead, I had to train my left hand in order to do M slices, even though I screwed up that out. I had to train my left hand to do double flick M slices. Now, as you can see, I'm still not super fast at them. Like, I can do them a lot faster with the right hand. But again, I can be a lot more efficient, even if I'm not at my highest TPS. So, as long as I can just nail them, then that's pretty good to do just a simple LSE. So, make sure that you choose one hand to do M slices and one hand to do U-turns. And also make sure that you can do pretty good M slices, and U-turns are pretty important too. Make sure you can do double flicks, back flicks, pushes, things like this. Small things that can really help in certain situations during a solve. The last one I want to talk about that is really helpful, and you probably already know this, it's block building. So block building is very important to get used to if you haven't already, and there's just so many different tricks and things that you can do with block building. I don't even know all of them, and I don't know if I ever will know all of them, but basically just watching example solves and doing slow solves. But basically watching example solves and doing slow solves will help you with your block building, because there are a ton of different tricks that can help in certain scenarios. Like what I'll show here is I'll show non-matching centers. I don't know if blue-yellow is the best block to do, but something like non-matching centers is where you would solve the first block around a center that doesn't match the pieces, and then you would do the same for a second block. Like this. So this second block doesn't match the center, first block doesn't match the center, and then what you do is you use M's and wide U's to pair up the centers like this, and then we have these solved. So it is like 3 extra moves, but it probably can save you moves during your first 2 blocks, and that's just one of the simple things that can help you during block building. I can't go over all of them, of course, but maybe we'll come across them in the example solves, and if not, you can always watch more example solves on different channels, or if I should eventually release more example solves on this channel, so if they're out already, then you can just go ahead and watch those. Okay, so now what I want to do is I want to do 3 example solves. I'm gonna try and be as honest as I can during these example solves, and by that I mean whenever I'm turning very slow so I can explain everything I'm doing as I do it, I will probably pick up on a lot more than I would in a normal solve, but I'm just gonna try to go with what I think I would have seen when I am in a solve, because I try not to pause, even though I do sometimes. I try not to do it because it's more efficient if I don't. Um, of course, I have to work on picking up on things like that, but of course, in a very slow solve, you'll pick up on a lot more things. I'm just going to be trying to focus on things that I would see and still get sub 20 with. So, first scramble is going to be at the top of the screen right now. Okay, so this is the first scramble. What I see here is I see this blue-yellow pair, right? Because we want to be able to see this as a pair. A blue-yellow pair here. There's a blue-white pair. So with the blue-white pair, this edge to connect here is 1 move away, and I can insert and build my first square in 3 moves. But also I see that this is a pair and this is a pair, so I could potentially solve this and then have this be kind of easy. So what I would probably do here is, I don't have too much time to think about this because there is something called inspection that I have to worry about. So what I would do is I'd position the cube like this. I'd probably remove this back pair and insert it. So that's 3-4 moves. And then I would see this pair, which I knew was going to stay here. Nothing was going to move this. And then I would do this, wide R2, and pair that. So that's a pretty good first block, pretty efficient. Then I would see this is connected and this pair. So I also see this corner, but I don't know where the corresponding edge is, so I can't worry about that right now. So I would just do R2 to insert this. Then I'd work on this pair, like that. And then I notice that none of the pairs I need are on the top. But I see this back here, and I'm just going to take a wild guess and say that that's the corner I need. So I'd probably remove it with an R2. Okay, I was correct. And then I would do an M2 probably. And as I see this, I'm going to take a wild guess and say that's the edge I need, because depending on what the situation was earlier, the only two edges it could have been were like the back one and this one, and it's definitely not this one because it says white. So I would do U prime M and make the pair with some estimated guessing, U2 insert in the back. Then I see this assume case. I do this with my left hand, and then I didn't know that CMLL, but I see a pair in the front, and that doesn't match, so I do J perm from the back. And then I get arrow case, so I solve that. These are the LR and ULR, so the two edges are already paired, so I just remove, insert, and then probably do this, even though I should have done a U, but anyway, I probably would have done that. Then I could just solve for LSE, or L4E, pretty quickly. Alright, second scramble is on screen. Alright, so what I see here is I'm seeing this pair with this edge. I see this little combination right here of these three with this, which would be easy insert. Wait, did I screw that up? Oh no, I screwed that up. Hold on. Alright, I gotta go solve this real quick. Alright, so after accidentally screwing up that scramble, I have reset it to what it was before. So anyway, I would probably go with this, because this is an easy insert, and then the other pair is here and here. So now that with an R2, this pair is on the top, and that's good, but I don't know if this will be preserved when I insert this, so I just track this. This won't move at all, but I'll track this while I'm doing my first square. So I go. Okay, so it didn't move. So I just, well, it did, but it stayed in the same orientation. So I bring it up and solve like that. And that's my first block. Then I have these two pairs, which still stay the same. So I would probably try to do U2 to pair up the edge. Then I would remove this pair and solve it kind of like this. But then I see that this is just a rotated corner, which is bad. I don't want that. So I just do R2, and then I already know what this pair is from looking at it earlier. So I could just remove that, solve, and insert. Then I see this CMLL, which I know, and actually, whenever it's here, the which is the orientation that you learn the alg, you start off with the U prime. So I might have done a U and then a U prime, but it doesn't matter. That'd be like a tenth of a second. So I just go into the alg. So then, that was just fortunately a CMLL case that I knew. I do M2 to get arrow case. Even though I think I accidentally did that with my right hand, I wouldn't have in the solve. Then I would see these two are the edges I need. So I do M2, U, M, U2, M prime. And then solve for it like that. This pairs M2 to fix it, and then insert like that. Or not insert, but fix like that. Alright, so third and final scramble. I see this bar and this pair. Now this would be really good if I was fully color neutral, because I could just solve this as a non-matching center, but I'm not, so I can't do that. What I could do is I could do F R wide 2 U wide prime, or no, U wide, to solve this, and it wouldn't actually be non-matching center. Like, I could just do that, but what I'll do instead is I'll do a U, R wide 2, and then a U, and then this pair would just stay where it is. So I'd do an RY2 to bring it back up, and probably solve it with like that. And then I saw this, so when I was doing that, I saw this edge that would be here. So I would bring it up, insert it, R2 to bring it down. Then I saw this corner while I was doing that, so I would pair it, insert in the back, and then I have this pair, right? So I would just bring that out and solve it. Even though that was extremely inefficient, and there's probably a better way to do that, that's honestly what I would have done in that situation. Now, I don't know the CMLL for this soon, so I would just do it from the back like that. Then I see this doesn't match. I peeked here, this doesn't match. J-perm from the back. Then I would do M and get arrow case, solve for arrow case. I saw, as I was doing that last M prime, I saw this edge go back here, and this edge is here, so it'd just be M2, U, M prime, U2, M prime. And then I would flick back with this finger, M2, solve that, and then just by recognition I know to finish it off like that. Alright, so thanks for watching. I hope this helped you get closer to sub 20 with the Roux method. If you have any questions, please ask in the comment section. If you take anything away from this, do slow solves and watch example solves, because it will really teach you a lot about what you didn't know about the Roux method. So really, the Roux method is all about experimentation and learning new things. So the more you experiment with this method, the faster you'll get, and I hope you get to sub 20 someday. Thanks for watching, and subscribe if you like this content, and like the video if you want to see more content like this in the future. Goodbye.